How's it going, everyone? Sethphir here, and welcome back to another Tower of Fantasy video. Today is going to be my new raid guide for Shattered Realm on normal difficulty. This guide is going to fully prepare you for all of the mechanics and information that you need to know to be successful in this new raid, regardless of what type of group you may or may not have. So let's go ahead and get into it. The new raid is a double boss encounter where you will fight two copies of Nemesis, one red and one yellow, and you're going to be required to defeat both of them. It's going to require a bit of strategy and separating the bosses, and we'll talk about their mechanics here in a little bit, but it is ideal to have at least one tank and probably 1 to 2 healers to ensure a successful party. Even with whales, I know having a tank is a blessing, and same with those healers, so make sure you are on the lookout for that and building your party composition correctly. In addition to that, the recommended combat score is 48,000 CS, which is a little high, but it's still pretty good. I think that it's even doable below that CS margin. I've seen groups with players that have lower than that, maybe even the 35k range, and they were able to still be successful. And the only big hard requirement is that you must be level 70 to even walk into the raid. The game just simply won't let you. Now, with that out of the way, I will say that there are special conditions in this raid. There is a mixed elemental bonus. The red Nemesis twin will take bonus damage from flame, 120%, which is a lot. So that means weapons like King, Huma, and Zero will be particularly powerful. And since Cobalt B is right around the corner, well, hey, pretty much today, that's also going to be a strong addition to doing damage to that boss. And the yellow Nemesis twin will take 120% ice damage, so weapons like Frigg, Tsubasa, Meryl, and even Coco are going to be a lot more powerful versus this encounter. Now that you have your pre-setup covered with your tanks, healers, and appropriate elemental damage weapons, we are going to talk about the boss's abilities themselves. So the first thing that you need to know is that there is a small Shatter Check. Some of the bosses will put up a shield sometimes. If you do not destroy that shield, they will immediately start casting a lot of their abilities. So make sure to focus in on that one and you will be okay for the most part. Now we are going to cover the basic boss abilities, the ones that do damage and hurt, but aren't too flashy or punishing. So first off, they have a basic melee combo. It comes in like a 3 to 4 hit piece, so they'll swing at you, and yes, if you get hit by the first piece, you will be trapped and hit by multiple pieces after that. Following that, they have a grapple move where they will attempt to lunge forward and grab you. If you are grabbed, you will take massive damage. You can discharge to get out of the grab, but simply dodging it is probably the way to go. And finally, they have lightning hands, as I like to call them. They will use their little robotic arms to shoot this little arcs of lightning out. It's like mid-range, and the damage is pretty high, so try not to get caught super close to the boss when they're indicating this move. Next, we have the special abilities, and some of these are really rough. So the first thing we have to talk about is the Nemesis Slow Orb. Nemesis Slow Orb is a very powerful move which will shoot forward a little spark, and then that spark will expand into a giant zone, and you will be slowed. And when I mean slowed, I mean like slowed. Like you cannot move. You might as well be stunned. You're pretty much stuck in place. It's very, very obnoxious. Following the Nemesis Slow Orb, they also have a Lightning Orb, which will spawn and do continuous damage to anybody who is near that. You can take note of it from its multicolored element, so just make sure that you get out. I've had instances where this thing has spawned on top of me, and I've been stuck in it, and it just auto-killed me because it kept damaging me and knocking me against the ground. So just be aware of that. That is something that can happen. Next, we have the Shadow Realm ability, which will target one player about every minute. You're going to be locked in the Shadow Realm for 30 seconds or until your teammates break the portal that is on the outside of the realm, which will free you. You're going to be locked in a small hallway with Nemesis. It's very annoying to deal with, and at the end of the hallway is a little like black hole that pulls you in and deals damage to you, so you need to get away from that little black hole and dodge dodge the Nemesis in the narrow hallway and try to survive as best as you can from 30 seconds. From what I've seen, it's pretty much not worth the time to spend DPSing the little portal. You might as well just let that one player ride it out and survive. So that's going to be probably the best route to go for that one. So remember that it is going to last 30 seconds and it's going to be cast once a minute. So you're going to have a 30-second downtime from which somebody is not kidnapped into the Shadow Realm. Next, we have the Lightning Screen, which was a very powerful ability. Nemesis will sort of draw a barrier, kind of like the Omnium Shield, and project it forward. You can't really go through this barrier, so don't get caught in it because it will just keep doing damage to you and push you back until it kills you, especially if you're pinned up against a wall or anything. And she can cast this while you're inside the Shadow Realm hallway, which is pretty much cheating in my opinion, so there's like nowhere to run. Good luck with that. Hopefully you have like an iframe from Frigg or some sort of way to deal with that. It can be very obnoxious. And finally, we have an Enrage on the last health bar of the boss. When she gets down to about 1 health bar, she will just start casting her abilities hyper fast, like just chaining them back to back to back. So make sure that you finish off that boss and then proceed to the next one. The key note and mechanic of this fight is that the bosses have a linked health regeneration if they are near each other. So you need to separate the two bosses into corners of the room, and that will be the main core strategy for the fight. Once you know all these mechanics and you understand the core strategy, you bring the proper elements and team composition, you will be able to take out this fight relatively easy, at least for now, since this is normal mode, until we get into the later versions where the hard mode kicks in, and this one will definitely give you some trouble. Okay, so next we're going to go ahead and take a look at some footage from the encounter itself. We're going to check that out and see everything that is in there. So I'm going to give you a bit of glimpses of some of these abilities, how to deal with the Shadow Realm Hall situation, and just talk over some general game plan. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Alright, here we are in the encounter itself, and first we're going to start off by letting our tank establish aggro a little bit and gather the mobs into a position that is favorable to us. Then we are going to blow all of our cooldowns and try to do as much damage as possible, which does result in me getting aggro on the red boss, so it looks like I will show you what the Shadow Realm Hall does, since that is just something that I've been chosen for. So as you can see here, I've been kidnapped into the Shadow Realm, and we see the Nemesis casting the slow orb and all of her abilities as normal, and behind me is the little black hole portal that is drawing you in. It deals damage, so you definitely want to get away from that. But keep in mind that if you ever cast your discharge or ultimate, it'll get you out of any sort of slow orb that you need to do. So your objective here is to try to live. That's literally it, and the best way to live is by running towards the end of the hall and getting away from Nemesis. Once you have done that, you will be timed out with the 30-second window, and you will be locked back into the real world where the boss will then follow you after that. And if you are the person tanking the boss, you will just simply separate it from the group like I have done so here, and I'm just going to go ahead and keep this boss on the side. After a long time of kiting the boss and Shadow Realm spams, you will finally kill the first boss. Once you do, the fight is halfway over, so don't worry. You're gonna have your team come back and start focusing on the remaining boss. This is where it becomes a lot easier, because now you're not having to deal with the two boss mechanics at the same time, and you're able to just focus all of your attention on one particular element or boss. And that's going to be pretty much it. The main core strategy is to separate the two bosses, have one player kite and maintain aggro on the first boss while you kill the second one, then follow up and kill the first one and collect your rewards. Not too hard once you understand the mechanics and you're able to dodge through on those. Overall, I've really enjoyed this raid encounter, and I thought it was one of the more fun instances that we've had thus far. I'm looking forward to the future and seeing the hard modes and how all of those difficulty plays out, as well as the new raids and in-game content coming in the future. If you think this is it, you're wrong. There's a lot more to come, so be on the lookout. Thanks for watching this guide. I hope it helped your groups in any way, shape, or form, and if it did, make sure to comment down below. What do you think was the hardest mechanic of this fight? What would you like to see more of in the future? And make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell if you found this information useful. We will see you in the next video.